Hello everybody, Jamie here from FM Scout. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the top 20 unknown Wonderkids of FM20. Now, there's going to be a lot of debate in the comments, there's going to be some players that you guys know, you might support the club. I understand that, but there's also, you got to remember, a lot of players who are downloading FM20 for the first time. And, someone might come across this video who struggles to sign players and, we might find a player for them. So there will be some players that you might know in here, but there's a lot of players that I didn't know either. So, there's probably 2 or 3 that I knew. But let's get right into it. The first player we're going to look at is Ivan Marquez. Now, I've put the full name in. It might come up as Ivan Martinez, just so I can search for it quicker. A lot of these are kind of South American players as well. So, they've got, really long names. For example, Rodri has got, 10 different things in his name, as an example. So, the name of this guy is Ivan Martinez. Now, I'm going to try and keep this video nice and quick. I'm not going to ramble on too much about the players and the stats. You can see the stats for yourself, of course. We are going to make a little cheeky bid on each player, though, to see roughly how much this player would cost you. Now, another thing to bear in mind as well is these players are very, very high on potential. Maybe not the best, but they will probably be players who will definitely be good enough for the Premier League and, the top 4 teams maybe. So I'd honestly check these players out and get some of these in the clubs. I know we've done a few videos on Wonderkids and stuff like that over the last few days, and a lot of them Wonderkids cost a hell of a lot of money. These are the kind of players who are kind of weird clubs, but will cost you less money. Hopefully, I haven't checked, but hopefully that's the case. So yeah, the first one, Ivan Martinez, who's at Atletico Pamplona. I have no idea who even they are, but he is obviously Spanish, 17 years old. 150k value, so quite low, and you can see by his stats already at 17. As a goalkeeper, looks very, very strong. If you was to bid for this guy, it's going to cost you around, he's got a release clause of 2.6 million. I didn't even know that. So Ivan Martinez is a goalkeeper you should definitely look out. Let's move on to the next one. Felipe Megiolaro. I'm so sorry about I really butcher names. So yeah, we're just going to call him Felipe. Another goalkeeper, this time in South America, and Gremio, 41k value. Stats look very similar. Bear in mind, a lot of these players are 20 and below. So there's a lot of room for improvement. That's the main thing. These are all potential players. These are all Wonderkids on the game. So yeah, looking at this guy, very, very good. 41k. Let's have a look at let's have a look if we make an offer. He's got no release clause. So to buy this guy, you're going to look around 2.3 million, which is still very, very low for a guy who could potentially be one of the top Premier League players in the future. The next one, Nguyen Perez. This guy right here is FC. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. So he's in Portugal somewhere, I think. He's on loan from Atletico Madrid, actually. So this guy, you might have to wait. Atletico Madrid, of course, they're going to want a bit more money for this type of player. But looking at his stats, a centre-back, incredibly strong. Some of you might know this guy. I've heard of him myself. But again, this is for everybody who may be potentially downloading the game or playing FM20 for the first time. So yeah, if we make an offer for Perez, he's got a release clause of 13 million, which is still very low. Looking at his stats, they aren't prepared to accept that. So if you could jump in straight away and try and sign this guy. But yeah, 13 million. Incredible stats, could easily play in the Premier League from the off, in my opinion. Let's move on to the next one, is Gianluca Itter. This guy is at Freiburg, so we're in Germany now. So German, 20 years old, 2.1 million, a left back. His stats are really good. Again, this guy could potentially play this guy could play in the Premier League from the off, first season. He is out for 2 to 4 months, so bear that in mind if you try and go for him from the start. But if we was to make an offer for Itter, going to cost you in the region of 11 million, which is slightly higher than we've seen. But again, this is kind of the unknown Wonderkids. I'm assuming he was kind of playing for Wolfsburg second team last year. He did eventually move to Freiburg, but yeah. And let's move on to the next one, is Rayan Ait Nuri. So this guy, sometimes it don't come up if you put the dash in it. There we go, let's try that. So yeah, this guy is in France now, so 1.1 million, currently wanted, the first player we've seen that is wanted by Arsenal and Chelsea from the off. So that just shows you, even though you probably won't see these guys on other YouTubers or our YouTube videos. So this is why I want to do an unknown one, because there is players out there who's very good that don't get the spotlight, right? So yeah, this guy, left back, tackling of 13, very, very strong all-round player already at 18. We try and make an offer for this guy. He's got no release clause. It's going to cost you around 19 million, so very, very high. Angers clearly want some money for that guy. They consider him a high prospect. And the next one is Claudio Rodriguez Gomez. Comes under the name of Guga, which is exactly what I was saying. So that's why I've gave you this name to type in. If you put Guga in, there's so many Gugas about. This guy is at Atletico Mineiro. This guy is a right back. Looks very, very strong all-round player. 20 years old, a little bit old. Well, not older, but 20. 2.5 million value. I'm assuming that the price on this guy shouldn't be that high. Let's have a look. So 13 million. So a little bit higher than I thought. But again, this guy has got potential to be very, very good. He's got balanced personality as well. But again, an all-round player. And the next one, I think, is at PSV. No, is it Dortmund? Sorry. So Achraf Hakimi. This guy's a Moroccan. So you guys will probably know who this is. I thought I'd pop him in the list just in case a lot of you didn't. But Hakimi, very, very strong. Is probably going to be the most expensive player in this list. But if you are looking for right backs now, the reason I've put him in this list is because I know how hard left back and right backs are to find, especially potential. You have to kind of rely on regens to come through, and it can take a while. And left back and right back to me is the most frustrating position to fill. Once you've got a good player in that role with a bit of potential, you're kind of sorted for the next few years. So this guy, again, is going to cost you. He's got a release clause of 90 million. I'm assuming they're probably going to want 90 million. So I thought I'd pop him in there, but that is Achraf Hakimi. Going to cost you a hell of a lot of money. So that guy's not mainly unknown, but like I say, he is a left back. Moving on to the next one, Marcos Antonio Silva Santos, who comes under the name of Marco Antonio, is a centre midfielder at Shakhtar. He's got very, very good stats. Centre midfielder, played DM as well, 19 years old. Let's have a look how much he's going to cost if we go for him. So this guy is going to cost in the region of 18 million. With a 40%, obviously you can get rid of that as well. Let's move on to the next one. Jonathan Alexander Gonzales Mendoza. Comes under the name of Jonathan Gonzales. A few of you guys would know who this is. I've heard of him before. A lot of people have signed him previously. But this guy is 375k value. The reason I've put him in this list is because he's kind of a weird club, I guess. And, you know, you can kind of sign him. You're not going to break the bank signing him. So if we look at his stats, very good work rate. Physical stats are very good. Still only 20. Has already been capped for Mexico. If we try and make an offer, it's going to cost you around 15 million, which is very good. You know, if you're in the Premier League and you are looking for that kind of young wonder kid, you can definitely bring that guy in. And the next one, Gustavo Assuncao, I can't say that one, is another guy in Portugal. So this club seemed to be bringing out a few good players, but this guy was previously at Atletico Madrid. He moved to FC. But very good stats, 19 years old Brazilian, 1.1 million value. If we try and make an offer for this guy, it's going to cost you about 6 million, so kind of low, really. If you are looking for that DM role, again, a role that can be quite hard to find potential-wise until regens come through, is a very good player. Moving on to the next one is Hamed Junior Traore. This guy is a player at Sassuolo. He is currently is joining Sassuolo, from Empoli. So this is a guy that you can potentially get the season after. So I'm not saying you should sign these guys now. These are just guys to look out for in terms of potential. I mean, if you look at his stats, he's very good. Obviously, we can't make an offer for him because he's accepted a new deal. But again, look out for this guy when you come in the next few years. The next one is Augustine Almendra. Augustine Almendra is at Boca. Currently 1.9 million value. He is actually wanted at the moment by San Jose Earthquakes on loan. But this guy looks very, very strong. Again, he can play on the right and he can play centre mid. He's got the stats for kind of both. Physical, not great, but like I say, he's under 20 capped. He has scored a goal for the under 20s. A player to definitely look out for. If we was to bid for this guy, he's got a 27 million release clause, and it's going to cost you about 4 million, which is really, really interesting and very, very cheap. That's the main thing. The next one, this is the guy that I think is at PSV, is Ryan Cherky. So this guy, no, is it Leon? So yeah, this guy is on a youth contract, so he's 15 years old. I'll be very, very surprised if any of you ever heard of this guy. But obviously he wasn't on the game last year because he would have only been 14, I guess. Unless he was, I'm not entirely sure. You guys can maybe let me know in the comments. But if I was to bid for this guy, it's going to cost me it's not going to cost me anything because you can approach to sign. But if you was to bid for him, let's pop him in again. But if you was to actually bid for him, because there might be compensation, it's going to cost you around 1.7 million, which, you know, you've got a young 15-year-old coming through the ranks, and his stats are very, very good. It's already got 16 flair at 15 years old. So that's a player to definitely... I'm going to look at more into this guy in a few years, definitely. Moving on to the next one is Nachi Unvar. This guy is at Ajax, left winger, 16 years old, 180k. Also available to sign on a free transfer, depending on the compensation. But if you used to bid for Unvar, it's going to cost you around 1.2 million as well. So with them two players you've just seen, you can bring in a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old who's got really high potential for about 2 million, which is incredible, right? And the next one, Andreas Scoff Olson. This guy is at Bologna. This guy is 19 years old, Danish guy. He's got very, very good stats. Right winger, 4.9 million, which is great. If we try and bid for him, he's going to cost you 28 million, so slightly higher. But he is, of course, he is under 21 caps, 10 caps for under 21s. Looks very, very good. And the next one, so the next two is going to be players that you guys are probably going to know if you are diehard FM fans. So the first one is Manuel Solomon. So this guy, you could sign from Maccabi in like 2018, I think it was, FM18. And he was really, really strong. I mean, looking at his stats, he still looks very, very good. 5.25 million. He obviously moved to Shakhtar in real life. Israeli international. If we try and bid for him, it's going to cost in the region of 14 million. So a big increase from what you used to be able to get him from Maccabi. But still, a very, very good player. And the next one is a guy who's definitely not unknown. Is Tiago Almeida. Now, the reason I've put this guy in the list, he was probably one of the most signed players during FM19 last year, if not the first or second. So it's a little bit odd that he's in this video, but again, this is for people who may not have heard of him. And, you know, you are looking for that spark, I guess. But this guy is currently wanted by, as you can see, quite a few players, teams on loan. Only got a 2 million value. I believe he's got a release clause of 19 million. I'm assuming they're going to want that for him as well. Oh no, they only want 5 million. So you can pick up Tiago Almeida for £5 million, which is really, really cheap. And let's move on to number 17. Mohamed. Mohamed. PSV. AMC. First touch good. Determination brilliant. 17 years old. 4.2 million value. If we were to bid for him, it's going to cost you around 28 million. But his stats are very, very good for his age at 17. Definitely a guy that if you don't sign him, you'll see him in the Premier League for going for 40, 50 million in a few years' time. And then number 19, Amini Giori. Or Gori. This guy is at Lyon's second team at the moment, but he's already got 15 finishing at 19. Very good stats. 1.6 million value. He's got the kind of the breakthrough prospect stat. If we was to make an offer for this guy, going to cost you about 35 million, so very, very high. But this is a guy that you'll see definitely scoring in the Champions League in a few years. And the final one is Myron Bauer. This guy is a striker at AZ. 4.5 million. Very good physicals. Good finishing as well. Good first touch. This guy is valued at 4.5 million. If he was trying to bid for him, it's going to cost you in the region of 70 million pounds. So very, very high. So yeah, that has been an end to the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've picked up a few new Wonderkids, which is the aim of this video. Let me know in the comments if you plan on kind of signing any of these or taking a look at any of these. If you like the look of any, let me know. Apart from that, I'll see you on next time. Goodbye, everybody.